there guys, this is Sam
and Justin
at the Survival Review, and today we're going to be talking about a bit of an oddball, a bit of an oddball classic.
Cult classic.
A cult classic, for sure. It's definitely a cult film. Don Coscarelli's Bubba Ho-Tep.
Yes.
This is a movie that Justin was already familiar with. This was my first time seeing it. I was familiar with the movie. I had never watched it before, though. I had always heard about it as that weirdo Bruce Campbell Elvis movie.
Yes. And it is definitely that.
Yes. It's a weirdo movie. But it was not what I expected at all. I was expecting more of just a complete goofy comedy. Mm-hmm. And it is that in some ways, but this movie has a lot more character depth.
Yeah, and genuine heart.
Yeah. When the movie ended, I wasn't sure how much I liked it, because I was expecting something a little more just off-the-wall goofy. Mm-hmm. And it is, at times, that. But the character of Elvis has so much more development than I ever would have expected. In a good way. In a good way that I've kind of come to realize. Yeah. I had to sit with this movie for a bit. But I did like it quite a bit. And most of that is thanks to Bruce Campbell. He really sells it. I mean, he's the best part of most of the movies that he's in, and this is no exception.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, yes, the plot of this movie...
The plot of Bubba Ho-Tep revolves around an aged Elvis Presley, the real Elvis Presley,
yes,
who did not die because he switched places with an Elvis impersonator because he wanted to get out of the game. He was tired of being a rock star. He just wanted to live his life, you know, out on the fringes and be unknown again.
Yeah, he actually spends time as an Elvis impersonator.
Yes. He ends up hurting his hip and ends up being put into a retirement home, and that's where he spends the rest of his days. Until, for some reason, one day at the retirement home, he starts to realize there's something weird going on. Yeah. People are dying mysteriously. Yeah.
He gets attacked by a giant bug.
A huge, weird Egyptian bug.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it turns out that there is a mummy sucking the souls out of people's assholes in the retirement home, which is just as delightful as it sounds.
So he teams up with this man who says he is John F. Kennedy.
Yes. Who
they faked his death and he was dyed black.
Yes.
To hide the fact that he's John F. Kennedy.
Yep. Whether this is true or not,
that's up to you to decide.
It's up to you. That doesn't affect the story. I'm fine with it either way. Really, I mean, it's fun if he's crazy. So, that character is just a lot of fun.
Yes. So basically it's Elvis teaming up with the black JFK to take on a soul-sucking mummy in a retirement home.
Yep. It's a high-concept movie.
Oh yeah. So like, by saying that plot, you expect it to be some sort of like silly, almost like Sci-Fi Channel-esque, like so good it's bad type of movie. But it's really not that at all. Like, the movie is silly at times, but it takes the subject matter like serious enough, like the characters take it seriously enough that it becomes like a legitimately entertaining movie.
Yes. And the movie really takes its time, like I said, developing the character of Elvis.
Yeah. You
know, revolving around these themes of aging and really coming to terms with death.
Yeah, and it's like regrets for not living a fulfilled life.
Which is really, you know, heavier stuff than you would expect.
You had these guys who are constantly rolling out the dead bodies every time someone gets killed. And there's one scene where the one guy's just like...
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? What kind of life this old guy had? Huh? What kind of life he had, you know, his kids, his grandkids, his legacy.
And that's basically like the theme of the movie.
But then the other guy just goes, who gives a shit?
Yeah, basically. But essentially that's like what this movie kind of deals with.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like what are you gonna leave behind, and you live like a well-earned life. And Elvis doesn't really feel that way just because he's stuck in this retirement home with a growth on his penis.
Yes. There are many scenes dedicated to talking about the growth on his dick.
Yes.
Or even putting lotion on the growth on his...
Yeah, there's a couple scenes with that.
Which... I wasn't into all of that.
It's not totally necessary, no.
But you know, it's fun.
It's fun. It's ridiculous.
Yes, very absurd.
But then, like, you have scenes where he has his roommates who, like, the first thing you see him and he's just coughing up a storm, and Elvis is just like, hey, you okay?
You good over there?
Yeah, and he ends up dying.
Yes.
And then you see his daughter coming in to, like, pick up all this belongings stuff. She basically takes up, like, old pictures from, like, the war and stuff and, like, his purple heart and just throws them in the trash.
Chuck them in the garbage, which I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. And she's just like, yeah, you know, like, I came here once before and I dropped him off and that was it. And so, like, Elvis is kind of, like, doing that kind of stuff where he's just like, oh, I have a daughter who I haven't seen since I switched bodies. So there's a lot of kind of, like, stuff dealing with that. It's like I said, it gets a lot, like, deeper than you would think.
Yeah, there's a lot of regret. And,
yeah, definitely.
And the movie is essentially, like, him trying to redeem himself at a certain point. He's
Yeah.
trying to save the other tenants of this retirement home by killing the Bubba Ho-Tep.
Yes.
Which I love that the movie begins like Pulp Fiction, with like a definition of Bubba and Ho-Tep.
Yeah.
I found that fun. That kind of set up the tone for the movie right away.
Exactly. And so this soul-sucking mummy is a mummy that was being, like, transferred to, like, a museum, and on the way to the museum, it was in this bus who ends up crashing, going off-road and landing in this lake and sinking. Elvis finds this out kind of out of nowhere. Like, the mummy walks down the hallway and kind of just turns and looks at him, and all of a sudden he gets all the information, which I thought was kind of like...
There were a few things like that just like,
it thought it was just trying to kind of move the plot along.
Yeah.
And then, like, they didn't really know how to do it without kind of padding it out. So it's like, let's have this weird thing happen. Okay, there we go. Now I know the backstory.
Yeah, there's some small issues like that.
Like we said, this movie is directed by Don Coscarelli, who is known for Phantasm.
Justin's a big fan of. I haven't seen any of them yet. I will get to it.
So I liked rewatching this movie recently because I hadn't seen this movie since before I saw the Phantasm movies. You can definitely see, like, the director's low budget sensibility because this movie does feel really low budget.
Yeah, you definitely feel the budget at times.
Yeah,
but
like the whole movie just takes place in the retirement home. Really, they really never leave. They go outside for a little bit, but that's about it. The effects, you know, aren't the most high-tech stuff. Like, a lot of just kind of cool flickering lighting effects.
Yeah, most of it they get by with what they had.
Yeah, and like the bug effect is cheesy, but I think that bug effect adds to the charm.
A little bit.
Because it's just this big, over-the-top bug.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. It looks like a wind-up toy when it's like moving towards him almost.
Yeah.
But it's still a fun scene.
Oh yeah, it's charming.
Exactly.
And then one thing I liked was seeing Reggie Bannister in the movie as the guy who, like, runs the retirement home. Just because, like, I was like, hey, it's Reggie. And, like, I always kind of pictured Reggie as kind of like, if Bruce Campbell is like a B-movie actor, Reggie is like the C-level version, because in the Phantasm sequels, that kind of turned him into a Bruce Campbell-esque character. So to see Reggie Bannister interacting with Bruce Campbell, I'm like, oh, that's weird, but cool.
Yeah, I didn't get that. But
of course. But I like that they threw him in there. It's a nice little thing.
Yeah.
And one of the standouts of this movie that, like, I feel like might get overlooked when you're initially watching this movie, because the first thing you notice with the movie is, like, it's Bruce Campbell playing Elvis.
Yes.
Never fuck with the king.
And that's, like, probably the main reason most people watch this movie.
It's the main reason I always wanted to see it.
Yeah, and once you kind of get past that and look at, like, the actor playing JFK, he is such a standout in this movie. And every time I rewatch the movie, like, I notice him more and more, and his character gets better and better. Because, like, he has this kind of, like, liveliness to him where he takes the whole situation super seriously, but he's also has such, like, high spirits. Like, he's just so, like, giddy and ready to, like, fight off this mummy, whereas Elvis is just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, he's really, like, just a bizarre character.
Yeah.
Because if you view him as just a crazy man, that just adds so much to his personality.
Yeah, it does.
And if you view him as JFK, it makes no sense whatsoever.
No.
But it's equally fun.
Yeah, I love the details of, like, his room. It's decorated like the Oval Office.
They just let him make his room look like that.
Yeah, and it's just full of pictures of people involved in the JFK assassination and stuff. There's, like, a diorama of the school book depository.
Yep.
Like, just cuz.
That's his character.
Yeah, and I love the scene where they find these hieroglyphics written on the, like, bathroom stall.
Yeah.
And he just, like, he has this book, of course, of, like, like, Egyptian stuff.
For some reason.
And he's just like, I translated it. And one of the translations, he's just like,
Cleopatra does the nasty.
Say what?
Well, pretty much that's the best I can translate.
it's just so ridiculous. Because he buys into all of that stuff. Like, that's how he's reading a book about this type of stuff. That's where he finds about the soul-sucking demon who sucks the soul out of your asshole. That's in a book that he reads. There is some kind of, like, dark but kind of silly sense of humor to things. Like the scene at the beginning where the one lady steals the candy and the glasses from the other lady.
Yes. For no real reason. It's just this lady, she's like, yeah, I'm just gonna take this chocolate from from one of the other tenants of this.
Who's like completely incapacitated. She's in that kind of like tube thing,
Yep.
and can't do
Like an
anything.
iron lung.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, but like you get to the climax of this movie, and there's a shot in this movie that should be kind of like the really hilarious, funny moments.
It should be like a dumb, goofy moment of them like. Because Elvis in the whole movie is in a walker.
Yeah.
Like, he can barely move without it.
And they've just prepped for, like, the final battle.
Yeah.
And you see them just come down this hallway, Elvis in his bright white over-the-top Elvis suits with the walker, and then JFK in the wheelchair next to him.
Yeah.
And it's a funny image when you really think of the context of it.
But it feels more triumphant.
Yeah, it feels earned. Like, when you watch the scene, you're like, yeah, like... kill that mummy, like you're into
Get
it.
that fucking mummy, you guys.
It's a weirdly like triumphant moment because it's them like moving towards accomplishing something.
Yeah. And it's their redemption for being stuck doing nothing for 40 years.
Yeah, exactly. That's our horror movie for you.
Yeah, that's our horror comedy for you.
Horror comedy drama? I don't know.
Comedy. You can throw a drama in there.
Sure.
I'm not going to argue with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun time.
It's a unique movie for sure.
Certainly not what I expected. Definitely don't just go into it expecting like straight up comedy because there's a little more to it than that.
Yeah, no, it's not like what you'd expect from this premise. It's more of a slow burn movie.
Yeah.
But I did feel there's a few moments in the middle that did kind of like drag a little bit. And this movie is like only 90 minutes.
No, I agree, definitely. Like I said, when the movie first ended, I wasn't sure if I liked it so much.
Yeah.
And I think part of that was because it felt like the movie wasn't as fun as it could have been.
Yeah.
But the more that I look back on it, it's like, it was definitely a lot of fun. Bruce Campbell holds it together.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, and overall, it was trying to go for a little bit more than just being a dumb comedy.
Yeah.
And I think it succeeds.
Yeah, it succeeds. It's not perfect.
Yeah, not at all.
But it's definitely one of the most unique movies in the genre, definitely.
It's trying to be unique, and I respect that more than anything.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's definitely worth checking out. Just like know what to expect going in, and I think you'll appreciate it more.
Absolutely. And I think that's all we've got to say on Bubba Ho-Tep.
Yeah.
Give it a high recommendation.
Yep.
And until our next horror review, we will see you guys later.
Yep.